What's going on, guys? Today, we're going to be talking about the difference between a bridge and THORChain and why it matters. This is kind of a semantics confusing topic, so we're going to break that down today. So let's get right into it. So, what is the problem that THORChain fixes? Okay, the hair on fire problem before was swapping assets. You've got, let's say, Bitcoin and you want to swap it into Ethereum or vice versa, right? How do you swap an asset that exists on a certain blockchain with an asset that exists on another blockchain? It's a really complex problem. Simple idea, complex. Well, we've made some attempts at that. Let's start with the first one here, centralized exchanges. This has been a total coping mechanism that goes against the original ethos of blockchain where you are your own custodian. So check it out. You have a centralized exchange. You have to send your asset to a centralized exchange. So again, you don't have asset, you don't have custody of those assets. You're given an IOU representation of that asset, right? And you can't audit anything. You don't know what's going on, right? You have to assume, you have to trust a third party to be responsible and to give you the asset back when you want to sell and go to your bank or whatever. But again, you don't know what's going on. And some people say, well, it's safe, they're reliable. Well, history doesn't prove that at all. Everyone knows about FTX, and there are more examples too. Okay, but we're going to talk about FTX. Check it out. Faulty FTX audits. Okay, this is something that was supposed to be secure, was supposed to be safe, and it was audited, but it really wasn't. Okay, so you can be given any song and dance of how safe a centralized exchange is, but at the end of the day, you don't really know if it is. There's a second thing we attempted. Wrapped assets. Now, I'm not going to lie, this is a pretty sweet graphic, but this is a terrible idea. So you have Bitcoin, right? And what you do, this is like Bitco, for example, you can take your Bitcoin and send it to a third party, get Bitco, and they convert it into wrapped BTC on Ethereum. And you can use that wrapped BTC on Ethereum for whatever you want, blah, 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 make a loan, do all the fun stuff you want to do. And then you have to take that wrapped BTC, send it back, it gets burned, and then you get your BTC back. Well, there's a lot of problems with that. First off, no matter what, this system will always be inherently insecure because you have to trust a third party will always be honest and give you back your real Bitcoin. Because if something were to happen to this BTC in a vault that you do not control, this wrap BTC immediately becomes worthless, right? It does not matter. It's like a gold, putting gold in a bank, right? The bank will give you a little paper gold. This little slip paper says you get 1 ounce or whatever it is, but they can either take the gold or maybe make more slips of paper than there actually is gold available in the bank. Lots of things to think about. Let's talk about the third solution, which is the topic of this video, a bridge, right? What is a bridge in a conventional sense? A bridge is an intermediary application layer that attempts to seek consensus and send layer one to layer one. So we have Bitcoin and Litecoin in this example, and this controlled by a third party, right? Often blowing multi-sig. They want to swap this asset for user A and user B, right? Let's break this down a little bit more here. Let's use a different example. Use Ethereum. Alice here. We have 100 ETH. Alice has to send 100 ETH to this vault that you don't control. That's locked, hopefully. It gets converted into a wrapped version of ETH. We'll just say this is base chain as an example. Doesn't matter. Alice now has 100 wrapped ETH, right? And she can do whatever you want. Now it comes to send it back, right? So Alice has 110, whatever, doesn't matter. She has to send this wrapped version of ETH. It gets burned, and then that Ethereum, the real Ethereum, the thing that's actually worth money, gets unlocked, and she gets it back. If anything goes wrong in this process, a spoofing attack, exploit, bug, a third party that's hostile, you can lose everything. Some examples of this. $190 million, Nomad Bridge exploit. Pretty bad. Wormhole, $321 million. This was a cyber attack. So many people got hurt on this. Absolutely terrible. Ronin, 600 million, more than $500 million lost. Absolutely awful, guys. We don't need to do this anymore. We don't need to have this problem recur. THORChain has solved this problem. THORChain, unlike a bridge, it exists on the layer one itself, on the protocol level. THORChain. THORChain has solved this problem, you guys. The assets, when we swap on THORChain, it's real layer one for layer one. Okay. And you retain custody of your assets. It's permissionless, it's open source code. It works, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. Let's go to the nodes here. THORChain is one complex beast. It started in 2021. It is now 700,000 lines of code. This was a very hard thing to figure out. So many bugs and quirks that we had to work out, but we did it. We figured it out and it works like butter now. Hard work pays. Here is the nodes that validate the transaction on THORChain. There's 105 active nodes. That may not sound like a lot, but it actually is. To be a node operator on THORChain is very complex. And for many technical reasons, this is actually a very high number. If you want to break down more on this, we'll have a link in the description below, but we got to keep this high level just for brevity here. But this is fantastic. THORChain secures real layer one assets, you guys. These vaults have real assets, real exogenous assets that we secure, and these are the pools that facilitate the swaps. We also have wrap versions to help people swap in and out of them without needing that third party like BitGo. So that's pretty nice. You don't have to go to the third party anymore. This works beautiful, you guys. It just works beautifully, and it's decentralized. Again, guys, check this out. Decentralized, so very important. It's time we really establish what it means to be DeFi, what it means to do real layer one swaps. This has been a hair on fire problem for so long. THORChain has solved the problem. It is the only protocol that does it the correct way. No KYC, permissionless, real layer one swaps that from your own wallet to another wallet that you control. It works beautifully. Guys, check it out. If you want to make a swap on THORChain, we have a tutorial down below. It's not hard, but you don't even need to connect your wallet. You can do something called a memless swap. It works great, you guys. Swap.thorchain.org, swap.thorchain.org. Be part of the revolution that THORChain has started. And that's going to wrap up this video, you guys. Always remember, anything we say is not investment advice. It's for information, educational purposes only. Please like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to be having a lot more content coming out soon. Thanks for hanging out with us today, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.